Welcome back to eNCA. We now head back to our top story where the Democratic Alliance is offering 1 million rand to Outa's cause against e-tolling. Joining us now to discuss this further, we have Cosatu spokesperson Patrick Craven. Patrick, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Do you think that the DA is trying some kind of electioneering before elections next year? Do you think that they are really trying this to help out the cause of Outa?
I think it is blatant opportunism, definitely related to electioneering. Cosatu's main objection to e-tolling has always been that it's a form of privatisation of a basic public asset. Now the DA on most other issues is in favour of privatisation. They like the market economy, and so they ought, if they're logical, ought to be well in support of e-tolling. The user pays principle. Let the market determine who can afford to drive on roads or not. And so we can only assume, therefore, it's pure opportunism.
But we spoke to the DA earlier, and they have said, in all fairness, they have actually been opposed to e-tolling even in other provinces, and that is their counter-argument.
Yes, they're opposed to it because they realise how unpopular it is, and so you would expect them to try to cash in on the mood. But it is a totally different kind of opposition to that of Cosatu and most of the other people who are opposing it, which is a matter of fundamental political principle, which we believe the DA does not accept.
From a political perspective, how does it complicate things, given the fact now that a political party is getting involved in something that people on the ground are very opposed to?
Well, Cosatu will continue with its campaign. We will not accept a cent from the DA. For precisely the reason that...
Will you continue to support Outa, though, if they do accept the 1 million rand from the
Yes,
DA?
Outa is in a difficult situation. They will have to decide, and we would understand if they accepted the money, but clearly we wouldn't, because that would be then a major political compromise, which we'd be absolutely opposed to. And on the contrary, we will be continuing to support the ANC in the forthcoming elections, regardless of what happens on the e-tolling issue.
So even if the ANC, well, the government basically decides to implement e-tolls in the next few months, which we've heard that it could happen, but we know it could be a bad apple ahead of elections. Of course, Cosatu fully there for the overall ANC. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, we're fully committed to supporting the ANC. We would hope that by the time of the elections, we would have convinced them to drop e-tolls. Because they are so unpopular, so impractical, and such a waste of money trying to collect them.
Do you think that Outa should accept the 1 million rand? We still haven't heard any sort of formal press release from Outa, but we do know that a lot of people have been coming through with support.
We would prefer if they didn't, but if that's the only source of money that they have, we would understand and would obviously not stop supporting their campaign if they did decide to do so. But our campaign will continue anyway. The next demonstrations on the highways are scheduled for the 24th of June in Johannesburg, the 2nd of July in Tshwane, and then on the 5th of July, a march, which will, I think, bring thousands and thousands of people onto the streets.
Patrick, what do you think government is going to do now that the DA is getting involved in this and getting involved with monetary issues as well? Do you think we're going to see massive retaliation?
I don't think they will be swayed by the fact that the DA is now opposing them, because they would expect that. We hope that they will look at the real issues which Cosatu is raising with them and will be continuing to raise with them over the coming weeks. We have a number of meetings coming up, and we will make the point very, very strongly that the people are opposed to e-tolls, and that is going to have consequences in the elections, which we want the ANC to win.
Are you concerned that it could create a political spat as opposed to focusing on the real issues, as you say? Do you think that it could sort of muddy the water and skew the conversation?
I don't think that's a serious problem. There obviously will be spats between the DA and the ANC. You would expect that. But I hope it won't divert attention away from the real issues, which, as I say, is the privatisation and commodification of what ought to be a basic public service.
All right, Patrick, and from what I'm hearing is that Outa has in fact accepted the DA's donation. What is your sense on this?
Well, we hope that they will now win the court case.
Right. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Patrick. Much appreciated for your time. Good to have you in studio, Cosatu spokesperson Patrick Craven. And now let's move on to other stories.
News that moves. eNCA.com.